As the bird flies, 2.5 million solar modules swimming in more than 2,500 acres of land. With 8,500 pairs of hands at work during the peak of the project, putting up an ambitious display of the finest in solar technology, aiming to make one of the world's largest solar power plants in a single location in an unassuming part of southern India. 90 kilometers away from Madurai, in a little-known town called Kamuthi, arises a megastructure that has the potential to be monumental in its own way. The Adani Group claims its plant will generate a maximum of 648 megawatts of power, making it one of the world's largest single-location solar power plants. When the engineers from Adani reached the site at Kamuthi in July 2015, they realized the gigantic task at hand. The total land allocated for this project was 2,500 acres. That's like packing in nearly 60 Taj Mahals on a patch of land. Over time, the company had acquired the land needed for the project. Now what had to follow was some intense planning and rapid-fire execution to meet the deadline. One of the initial challenges in a remote, agrarian, non-industrial town like Kamuthi was sourcing manpower and equipment.
Nothing is available, and anything, the nearest town is Madurai, which is 90 kilometers away. Even to get a couple of vehicles, you need to hire from Madurai. So getting plant and machinery from nearby is ruled out.
The first load of containers was arriving by late August from China. These containers with solar modules and module mounting structures would need a home immediately, a very large home. 140,000 square meters of space. Imagine nearly 6 Sydney opera houses stacked together. Wires of different shapes and thicknesses are connecting the dots in this massive solar puzzle, almost 7,700 kilometers long. These cables can run all the way from New Delhi, India to Perth in Australia. The panels alone will occupy an area of 1,270 acres, enough to take in 476 football fields. These module mounting structures, or MMS, have been grouped into tables with a specific capacity. One table can generate almost 50 kilowatts peak electricity. The amount of metal being used to make these piles, tables, and towers is mind-boggling. Around 30,000 metric tons of galvanized steel. You could construct more than 4 Eiffel Towers with that much steel.
Location was in California in the US. That project was completed in around 3 years. We were looking for setting up 648 megawatt, and that also in less than a year.
Just for this project alone, the port will receive more than 6,000 containers from all over the world, including countries like China, Japan, Malaysia, Taiwan, Israel, Italy, Germany, Turkey, and Switzerland. Things took a turn for the worse in December 2015 when work came to a grinding halt. The water may have been just knee-deep at site, but the logistics got hit hard when the team got word that Tuticorin, the port town closest to the site, was badly affected by the rain. Less than 4 months were left. Damage control was the need of the hour. The corporate office in Ahmedabad was weighing in on their ideas too. An emergency meeting with all departments at the site office is underway to assess the damage and plot the way forward. The group has to take some drastic steps. With rain pelting down, logistics were proving to be the biggest challenge of them all. From 2,500 workers on site, they had to pull in more than 3 times the number, nearly 8,500, and 24 hours in a day would not be enough.
Our asking rate close to 10 megawatt. So 10 megawatt means 40,000 modules we have to place in one day.
And if not cloudy or rainy day, electricity generation can take a hit if modules are dusty. Luckily, solar power plants are relatively easy to maintain. An average photovoltaic cell may last 25 years or more if you regularly clean the module. In Kamuthi, what would otherwise have been a manual and water-intensive job has now been mechanized with state-of-the-art robotic technology from Israel. Waterless cleaning technology is a game-changer for semi-arid dry regions like Kamuthi, where it is a scarce resource. This robotic solar panel cleaning system uses soft microfiber on wheel that push dust off the modules. The robotic system can be remotely monitored, managed, and controlled.
With 20-odd days to go, the team still has to install 180 megawatts of solar modules.
The sun played peekaboo briefly, but the engineers read the game well and set a plan in place for future eclipses. Roughly 120 megawatts of solar modules still had to get erected. Supervisors of every department were pushing their teams to keep up the pace. You could sense nervous energy on site at Kamuthi. The last clusters of panels are being erected, connections made, system checks completed. It's the morning of March 31st, and the team at Kamuthi are still putting modules on structures, while engineers rush about checking these modules and making sure they are working. 360 megawatts is already being evacuated to the grid, and the remaining would flow out as soon as the state grid gets ready to receive it. For the entire Adani Group, March 31st, 2016 turned out to be a real good day at the office, and a baby step towards the company's next target, setting up a solar park in Rajasthan to generate 10,000 megawatts of solar power by 2022.